Good evening, one and all. A very warm welcome to Entrepreneurship Development Program, Day 6. This session has been sponsored by ReferenceGlobe along with collaboration with Askmentor. So, ReferenceGlobe is an edutech company. We offer end-to-end solutions for the universities and colleges across India. We have a connect with more than 1,000 colleges and 700 universities in India. It's an end-to-end digital transformation platform which can help the colleges as well as the students with efficient digital student transformation. So this is about Reference Globe. Today is day 6 session. I'd like to hand over the call to My Startup TV. Thank you.
Welcome to day 6 of Get Set Startup, Student Entrepreneurship Development Program organized by Askmentor in association with ReferenceGlobe. The strategic partners for this event are Email Service and Consultancy, Palnesto, Hackmania, My Startup TV. For the benefit of all those who missed the first 5 days of the program, a short brief. On day 1, Rajesh Khosla, President and Chairman of AGI Glasspack, addressed the students and shared his thoughts about entrepreneurship. The mentor on day 1 was Ms. Urvashi Baid, Director of AML. She spoke about idea and ideation. On day 2, the two mentors were Captain Amaya Kochar, founder of Proforce, and Captain Rahul Rai, founder of Armor Heavy. They spoke about finding a co-founder and bootstrapping. On day 3, the mentor was Rajat Shahi, founder of Hackmania. He spoke about community building and social media. Day 4 was called off as there was a bad network in North India from where the mentor was going to join. Rishabh Harshan will talk about the importance of mentoring and bootstrapping on 10th August. On day 5, the mentors were Urvashi Baid and Arundhati Rao. They spoke about how to prepare a pitch deck. The guest for the day was Shubham Mahajan, who is the founder of Cubic Online. Today's eminent mentor is Arundhati Rao, Director at AML Services and Consultancy. She will be talking about business modeling. Now I hand over to Arundhati.
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really happy to be here again after yesterday. And thank you to ReferenceGlobe and Startmentor for organizing this platform. We will get started about business modeling today. So if all of you are in and all of you are good, let's participate and see what it's like. I will share my screen with you so you know where we are going and how we go through that. Yeah, so if you're looking at a business model, there are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. A business model is a company's mechanism to generate profits. You need to be able to compact things like customers there, the features, the product, the market fit, the channel, distribution channel, revenue model, pricing, partners, etc. So essentially, you're going to talk about governance and leadership, customer engagement and demand, technology, service catalog, framework and process, organization design and culture, which is very, very important and significant for any investor, and eventually all of them and how you're intending to generate revenue. The important thing in any business model is what is your intent, which is the rationale of an organization to create, deliver, and capture value. So you talk in terms of what is it from the customer that you think is important that you're trying to service or deliver. How are you planning for your incremental sales? How are you planning for your product development, service improvements, marketing strategy, referrals, and customer success? And most importantly, after it gets going, how are you planning for client retention and revenue growth? So that in all gives the intent of what is your, like we discussed yesterday, what is it that you're trying to do with your product or service? And how is it that you're planning to deliver any value? Then the other important thing in a business model that you draw up for your unit is in terms of design. The design has to state things like requirements, how you're planning to implement it, how you verified it, and how you are intending to maintain it. Maintain it is to sustain it over a period of time. So essentially, you need to be able to execute as per plan. And as you start running the show, you learn and you discover from your customers. You always have to come back to your drawing board and rework what you have planned. There could be major changes, there could be minor changes, whatever it may be, you will have to incorporate those. And for all your information, apart from what you have captured and drafted, you also need to look outside and beyond your system to figure out whether your business model needs to be changed, needs to be adapted, needs to be tweaked. And always, for all of us, it's important to remember as an entrepreneur that your business design is not smarter than the collective intelligence of your potential customers. So here's another reason you need to leave the ego out of the whole thing and run with what sounds you get from the ground and adapt and change. And it needs to be dynamic to test, to learn, test your ideas and features, and rework and say, yes, my initial hypothesis was correct, or my initial hypothesis needs to be changed a little, or maybe quite a lot, or I need to rethink what my hypothesis is. Next. Then this is the most critical part of any business modeling, which is business model canvas. Business model canvas essentially has 9 boxes, all hypotheses in a single page, which allows you to look at things and say which is more important, which is less important, which are the things you're comfortable with. So it's a framework or a scorecard, and it allows you to take the hypothesis you made under various categories and test them in the real world. So whether it is your data, whether it's your design, whether it's a pilot test, it allows you to do all that. And it also insists that you gather as much data to ensure that your hypothesis is correct or to support an alternative hypothesis. And if you have some changes that you need to make, then you have to look at it and make those substantial changes. So with a business model that you have drafted for any business you might want to start, whether it's a product or a service, this is a very critical document, and this is a document you must have in front of you at all times. It allows you to see how you have changed it from the time you start to the running and over a period of time. And business model canvas is also a recommended way of more matured and running businesses to establish and look at what they are doing and maybe add a few things or change a few things. So it has components such as key features, which is, a detail of the key features of your business. It has a component that talks of key activities. What are the activities you're going to do as a part of your business model, which attends to these key features? It talks of value proposition. What is the value proposition that you are bringing to your target audience? There's got to be something that you give to them for which you are building this entire thing. Then customer relationship is another area of focus. Customer relationship defines how you're going to engage with your customers to start with, how you're going to get them, and how you're going to have a sustained relationship with your customer over time. Typically, if you want to think of an example in this context, think of Eureka Forbes. Eureka Forbes is one of the noted companies in ensuring customer relationship purely based on their maintenance. And that's phenomenal for all the last, I think, almost about 2 to 3 decades now. Then another thing on your business model canvas would be channels. Which are the channels you're going to use to reach out to people, to reach out to your target audience? Then there's another great unit there, which is talks of customer segments. Which are the customer segments you're looking at? How have you segmented? Who are the people you're hoping will buy into your product or idea or service? Then there are 2 very baseline things in there, which is your cost structure and your revenue streams. What are the things which are going to cost you? What are the things which are going to bring you revenue? And based on this, your entire business model stands, your cost and your revenues. Next. Now, this is what an automobile company, which is looking at something like mass appeal, style, reliability, and safety. This is what a business plan of an automobile company looks like. You can refer to things like Honda and Toyota. These are the companies which start with business model canvas like this. This is theirs. So they talk in terms of key partners, the activities, the value proposition to make it affordable, stylish cars with greater efficiency. And they talk of customer relationship, the customer segments, cost structure, and the revenue streams. Next, please. This is of an e-commerce company, and it talks of, again, the same things. The model is always the same. They refer to things like key partners, key activities. It's a good thing to look at it in detail, which you might be able to do at your end, or we can do it a little later down the line. This is of Amazon, which is essentially an e-commerce company. So these two are good comparisons of a business model canvas. And all businesses which have sustained over a period of time work with a business model canvas. Next. And one of the things that one is always told is no plan survives first contact with customers. So you have to be prepared for changes. You have to be prepared to bring it back to the drawing table and rework it. Next, please. Yeah, the important thing in drawing up a business model is customer segmentation. You have to arrive at the customer segmentation. Essentially, the way most people do it is they understand or they know or they capture the customer segment and say, hey, you know what, this is the kind of segment which has this requirement of a product or a service. However, the way to do it in terms of being systematic and organized about it is to go with customer surveys to start with, and then choose the type of segmentation, identify lucrative customer segments, devise the right marketing approach, test and iterate. These 5 things are very important for you to arrive at your customer segmentation. And that way you save a lot of effort, cost, time, and money much later if you get this right. For typical examples, if you look at something like Fast Track, MTV, Mahindra XUV, TUV, the minute you think of the brands, you know the kind of people you're thinking of who will buy into those brands. That's what customer segmentation is about. And that is what smart customer segmentation is like. Next, please. Value proposition. That's the other most important thing in your business model. It essentially tells you as much as it tells people partnering with you and people who likely to invest, what is the value proposition you are bringing to your customer segment. If you look at this slide, it tells you things like Khan Academy, which says you can learn anything. Now, everybody in today's time knows Khan Academy, but you think of it something like even 10 years ago, I think it was still trying to arrive and stand on its feet. So Khan Academy with its line, you can learn anything today, has become indispensable. All the more so because of the pandemic times that we are living in. Airbnb, which we discussed a little in detail yesterday, talks of book unique homes and experiences. Again, Airbnb doesn't have another replicated model as yet, and this is what they have offered as a unique value proposition. Twitter, everybody is there, and that's exactly what they offer to everybody. See what's happening in the world right now. That's Twitter's value proposition, and that's so right. And they've built the entire thing around the value proposition. So your value proposition should be talking to the target market segment, should be having emotional connect, should have tangible benefits. So it can't just be on emotions, it has to have tangible benefits. And those benefits which your target customer desire, it needs to have competitive differentiation. Although when it comes to something like Airbnb, I don't think they had too much competition that they had to beat. They just had a unique idea that they offered. So you talk of product leadership, you talk of customer dependency, you talk of making life easier for the customer, and you talk of it at the lowest price because the customer will always keep an eye on the price. So you need to be there as well. Next is the channels. Your business model will have to essentially consider the channels you're going to be using. In today's time and age, you're looking at 2 different things. You're looking at the conventional marketing channels, or you're looking at digital channels. So you have to be very clear which is it that you're going to use, how is it you're going to use it, when is it that you're going to use it. You, of course, have a very detailed thing on marketing much later, but these are the things that you need to keep on the scene and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to use this now and maybe do this later. Maybe I'm going to try digital marketing now, and then maybe I'll pump in some funds for physical marketing. Whichever way, that has to tie back to everything else that you have on your business model canvas, which is why that's a very important thing in your business modeling. Next, please. Customer relationships. Customer relationship is an integral part of any business model. It has to look at a customer in terms of the service you provide, the reliability that you give, which means you have to be there every day whenever the customer needs you. You have to look at improvements. You can't be doing the same thing over a couple of decades. There has to be change and adaptability. You have to look at marketing. That's a very vibrant part of your business. If you don't have the marketing in place, it's very, very easy for any customer to forget. Then you need the quality, that's consistency. That's the prime reason why a customer will come to you. Customer support and satisfaction. So these are all the important things you have to keep an eye on when it comes to customer relationships. As an entrepreneur, you need to be able to do all of them at the same time. Next, please. Then the most important thing, which is of great interest to any investor, will be your revenue streams. What are the types of revenue streams you have? Are you looking at services as a revenue, projects, leasing? Is that going to be a revenue? Is it going to be transaction based, which is what most of your e-commerce platforms are? E-commerce platforms has party A sell to party B, whether it's B2B or B2C, and they get the revenue based on the transaction or based on advertising, copyrights and licensing. You build a software platform, your revenue stream there will be copyrights and licensing. You will probably be working with a SaaS model and say, hey, you know what, buy an annual membership, buy a monthly membership, and that's your revenue. And there could be other streams depending on what your business model is. So this alignment of revenue streams to your business model is very critical on it running and functioning and being an optimal working unit. Next, please. Yeah, this talks about the key elements of your business model. Your business model, if we can recall the business model canvas, talks of couple of very, very critical things that you always need to keep your eye on. One is your key resources, the other is your key partnerships, the third is your key activities. After you've got your revenue, your marketing, and your customer managed, or after you've got them sorted and you're watching them carefully, you also need to constantly manage your key resources, your key partnerships, and your key activities. That primarily depends on what your business model is, whether it's a physical establishment, whether it's a online establishment, whether it's an intellectual thing, whether it's a product you've created or a service you're offering, and who are the people who are partnering with you. That's an important thing over a period of time, because your partnerships need to be consistent, need to be robust, strong, and reliable. You cannot be partnering with just about anybody. You need to be very, very sure about who you're partnering with. And the key activities. What are the multiple activities you as a business will do? They can be only so many. It can't be random and it can't be on the fly. So you need to know the activities that you will be working on and engaging in as a part of your business model. Next, please. Yeah, so this essentially is where your business model balances out, and this is the tightrope walk you've got to do as an entrepreneur. Your business model talks of your profits and your costs. Cost is vital for informed business decisions. There are lots of times when we have clients and entrepreneurs who say, hey, you know what? This is where I'm going to make so many crores. This is where I'm going to make so many crores. This is how it's going to run in the next 1 year. And all the crores, they have never seemed to factor in the costs. So cost is a very important factor to make informed business decisions, one for you, secondly for the people working with you, and thirdly for any investor. So if you're ever going to an investor and saying, this is what my business model looks like, he's definitely going to want to look at the costs, because there's no point of talking of profits unless you have factored in the cost. So it's very, very critical to keep that tightrope balance. And I think that is about sums what a business model is like. We're good for questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Arundhati, for your valuable inputs. I would request the participants, if they have any questions, they can put it up. We'll give you 5 minutes. Otherwise, we would like to close the session, this being a weekend because it's a Saturday. So, all the participants, if you have any questions, you can put it up now.
Anyone at all? Any questions? Maybe it was a little too much on a Saturday evening.
So, if nobody has any questions, then we'd like to end the session for today. Thank you so much, Arundhati ma'am.
Welcome.